welcome back to another episode of Fans and Jerseys. Today we're going to be discussing the match against Jamaica from Friday night. This is Matt.
And this is Will. So, what are your first thoughts on the game?
So, overall, I thought the game was pretty positive. I mean, 1-0, you can't beat that. Keeping the 0-0 draw was huge. The defense didn't have a ton to do, but when they were asked to do stuff, they got it done. What did you think?
Yeah, it was a positive game, especially with Bruce Arena sending home two of your starters in Jermaine Jones and Sacha Clutchton. I think everybody banded together. Benny Feilhaber had a great game, and he really jump-started the offense.
Yeah, I thought the midfield as a whole played really well. They got the ball out wide in spaces and crossed in, especially down that left side with Villafana and Legit. They played well. They had a good game.
So what were your thoughts on the lineup?
I liked the lineup. I thought it was really positive. You had a mix of young guys and some more experienced guys in there. You had guys off of long layoffs from the U.S. team and guys who are still have been in the mix the last couple of years with Morris and Birnbaum and Zusi in there. But you also saw Feilhaber come back, McCarty, Robles got another start after a long time. I thought the lineup was very good. I thought it matched what they did last game. There was consistency there. Absolutely.
Yeah, you saw Bruce Arena bring in a couple guys that were disbanded by Jurgen Klinsmann, specifically Benny Feilhaber and Legit, and even Dax McCarty didn't really get many call-ups. So it was good to see them in the lineup. It was good to see them playing well. You could really see the three of those guys in the midfield get working together, maybe not so much in Pontius, but definitely McCarty, Legit, and Feilhaber working together well, especially on that goal where Benny Feilhaber worked well with Morris even. And you saw a young guy with an older guy work well together. It's
right.
Nice to see.
Yeah, and I think the pass even came in from McCarty to Feilhaber. So McCarty he filled a role that I think will help this team. He's a defensive midfielder who can sit deep and allow everyone else in front of him to not really worry.
He did, yeah. He definitely filled that role well. I know last time we talked about how Jermaine Jones just didn't do a good job of that position, and McCarty did everything that we were asking him. Sat back, was very disciplined, and distributed the ball to everybody who needed it.
Yeah, I can only think of one mistake that he made all game, and that's awesome.
That's exactly what you want. So what are your thoughts on the subs?
I thought the subs were good. Taking out Feilhaber and McCarty for Nagby and Bradley was interesting, just because I think those are the kind of combinations he wants to keep. Bringing Beasley in seemed a little weird. It must have just been a here you go kind of thing for him.
Yeah, it might have been kind of a last goodbye thing. He only got about 4 minutes in these two games, and this might be the last call-up that we see from Beasley. Other than that, the subs were fine. Evans came in for Zusi. You didn't see much difference there. I think Zusi might have even played a little bit better, which is great for him. Bedoya, Nagby, and Bradley getting in the midfield is kind of what we've seen before, so nothing new there.
Yeah, and the defense didn't really have much to do all game. I think there was maybe one save from Robles all night and nothing from Bingham, so can't really grade those two from this game.
And you can't even really grade the back line besides Zusi, Evans, Villafana, and even maybe Beasley getting up on the wings. The center backs didn't have anything to do all night.
Yeah, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, the amount of possession the U.S. had was good, and it was expected. They were playing a younger Jamaican team, and unlike against Serbia, where they were a little more experienced, even though they were just getting their first or second cap, the Jamaican team was very young and inexperienced, so they took advantage of that. So Matt, who did you think was the best performer of the night?
I think Benny Feilhaber had a fantastic game. You saw him there for the 62 minutes that he got in there, distributing passes, making plays with his feet, getting back, really working well with Legit and McCarty, and even Pontius, and moving forward with Morris and Agudelo. You saw 2 minutes before he got subbed out, he had a give-go and give back to Morris for the goal after the feed from McCarty. So I think he had a really good game. He made his statement. He showed all the fans why they want him in the lineup, and they definitely showed Arena that he should be there going forward.
Yeah, it was almost like a stick it to Klinsmann kind of game for Philhoffer. Just he wanted to prove he should have been there.
Absolutely.
And I think he did. For me, I gotta say the best performance was that entire left side with Leggett and Villafana. They just worked so well together. I think their successful passes outweighed their unsuccessful passes by like 9-1 or something like that. It was crazy. And Villafana was just able to get up that sideline and combine with Leggett and just cross stuff in all night.
Yeah, he had a bunch of crosses there. So I do have a question for you. Do you think Villafana's role today could possibly move Fabian Johnson up?
I don't think so, and only because Leggett played so well. Leggett and Fabian Johnson can work together just as well as Villafana, I think. And taking Fabian Johnson off, I think, leaves you with a slightly less offense. He can get up and down, and he has better pace than Villafana, I think.
And I think Villafana can come in as a sub and be very effective there.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, who do you think had the worst performance?
I'm going to back off my last game here and say Zusi. He didn't play poorly. I just think he got beat too many times by the speed of the Jamaicans. And playing against tougher competition, that might be an issue.
Yeah, you could see that he struggled with the speed and backpedaling and switching his hips. Just not comfortable there yet. It would be okay to see him maybe come in against a slower offense, but DeAndre Yedlin obviously has the speed to play there. And against a more powerful offense, it would probably be better to have him in there.
Yeah, I agree. So what about you? What was your worst performance?
For me, I'd say Chris Pontius. And again, not a bad performance, just left a lot to be desired out there. He had a couple headers on the ball that didn't really go anywhere. Not too much with the distribution. Benny Feilhaber had a better relationship out there with Leggett, and not too many passes back and forth between him and Pontius. Not going to discount the role that he played. It's just, it wasn't up to the level of the midfielders around him.
Right. Pontius he's a big, strong guy, and I think the other midfielders just play with a little more skill on the ball than he does.
Absolutely. So what surprised you during this game?
I wasn't really surprised at all. The lineup was actually pretty close to what I was thinking it was going to be. And then even the subs were not too far off of my expectations. So I wasn't really surprised. Maybe the only surprise I had was that we didn't score more goals. I was expecting Morris to assert himself a little bit more, but I mean, 1-0. That's fine for this game.
Yeah, once we get the European guys in, I think if we played a few of them in this game, it would have been a blowout just because they're so inexperienced over there on the Jamaican side. But yeah, not too many surprises. The one that I had was Bruce Arena moving Alejandro Bedoya right into the middle. It's something we'd seen Klinsmann kind of experiment in the past more with the center D, but he moved him into the center attack with Bradley sitting back. Something we hadn't really seen from Bedoya, at least on the American side. I don't know that he played bad there. It's just something that he needs to get more comfortable with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he needs a little bit more experience if he's going to play there, especially during a World Cup or anything like that. I think he's more suited to the wing at this point in his career.
I would have to agree with that. I think we have guys who would be more familiar with that center attacking role, with Feilhaber, with even a Darlington Nagbe, or Christian Pulisic. Any of those guys I think would be better suited in the center than Alejandro Bedoya.
Yeah, I agree with that. So now that these two friendlies are over and we're looking forward to the March qualifier again, what do you think is going to happen in between now and then with this team?
I think you're going to see a lot of focus on the guys in Europe. Obviously, the MLS is just leading into their season, and they're wrapping it up over there in Europe. So I think you'll see a lot of focus on how those guys are playing, whether they're playing well or playing bad, because that's going to put a lot of pressure on them. And Bruce, as to whether he brings them in. He hasn't brought them in into this January camp, which is, that's normal. But he's not as familiar with these guys as he is with the MLS guys. It'll be interesting to see in any press releases or any interviews that he has what he thinks of these guys.
Right, he's very familiar with all these guys. I mean, he's coached some of them. He's played against some of them. It'll be interesting to see what he thinks of the European guys, because he obviously doesn't have as much experience with those guys, especially some of the younger guys. But they are in the pool for a reason, because they provide quality players, and I think he'll get to know them coming up in March.
Yeah, and we're going to see the difference between Bruce and Klinsmann. Obviously, Klinsmann, if he could, probably would have went out there with 11 guys from Europe. I think Bruce is more suited to bring a team together that's going to fit like a puzzle piece, guys that work together. So maybe that's a more MLS side. Maybe that's, two different teams kind of meshing together.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really know until we see these guys in a camp or in a game.
Right, it'll be very interesting once we get to March.
So that's all for this episode of Fans in Jerseys. Comment on what you'd like to see in the future. And don't forget, like and subscribe.
And I know there's a big break between now and the World Cup qualifier, but stay tuned because we'll be posting stuff regularly, including a 23-man roster from Will and Matt.
Thanks for watching. Bye.
Have a good day. Ha-cha-cha.
Hey, get out of here. Go on, get.
Actually,
I said... What was I talking about?
This time.
Alright, so what was I saying? I said...
Jen, you can't do that.
Sorry.
Definitely. Cutting that out.
See,
Cut.
from here on.
Yeah, sure.
Like a poop.
Right.
Indeed. So...
Oh, that's where you're going there.
Brew.
But brew.
Brew, not brew.
By the
That's
other
me.
guy.
Yeah, that other guy. Ding, 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 ding. Absolutely.
Yes, definitely.
I'm just very conscious about what I'm saying and agreeing with you.
Definitely.
Indeed. Indubitably. So,
I wasn't ready for you to say it.
indubitably.
Is that it? Get the heck out of here.
So that's for all. That's for all.
That's for all of you. I know there's a big...
Booger.
Hey, Mikey, thanks for sticking it out to the end.
Thanks a lot, bud.